Well, I'm delighted to welcome Dave and John. For me, guys, this is going back 50 years because I'd like to sort of talk about the John Player Trophy because it gave rugby league such an incredible audience, didn't it, on grandstand every single week. John, start us off.
Yeah, I think we were at the time sort of rebuilding the side, and we had some really good players with us at the time. And we sort of a lot of our players were young players. You know, we had players like Terry Fogarty of experience and various other players, but most of the lads were like 19, 20-year-olds. So we didn't really have any commitments as such. So yeah.
One of the things I remember is because it was one of the first things I ever did in broadcasting strange. I've been looking back at my notes about my career. In fact, I'm just writing a book at the moment about my life in broadcasting. And Radio Leeds was very important to me because I got my start in broadcasting through John Helm. And John, I can remember one of my first ever jobs was sending me out to do a preview piece on the John Player final, Halifax and Wakefield Trinity, wasn't it, at Odsal Station? And I remember it so well. I wonder what your memories are, Dave, of the build-up to the match, first of all.
Well, obviously, Harry, I would imagine that at that time we weren't expected to actually get to the final because
It's a long time ago, it's 50 years, but is it still fresh in your memory?
The game?
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Us going in the final, Harry. I'll never forget that.
What was the build-up like?
Like I said earlier, it was just surreal because we were never expected to get to the final. Basically, we weren't doing particularly brilliant in the league. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, John, did we get relegated that season?
I think we did, yeah.
But we were never expected. We were never expected to get to the final, and we beat in Leeds at Headingley in the semi-final. That was just unbelievable, you know, because of the real side then, not the Leeds.
It's funny when you look back on the game and the development of the game. We'll probably talk about the modern game in a few minutes' time. But for me, the John Player Trophy, a much maligned trophy, of course, with Eddie Waring, a commentator who was heavily criticised. Grandstand did a fantastic job, John, because they got millions, and I mean millions of people watching the game in the middle of winter because it was the one thing that they could guarantee.
That's right. Yeah. And the thing was, I suppose in them days, it was a religion to go to a rugby league match. You know, basically on the Saturdays then. So they, you know, as I say, that was a religion. They went had the dinner and then they went out and watched the game. And as I say, I thought Eddie Waring were a top class commentator.
Yeah, I loved Eddie as a guy. He was a lovely, welcoming guy. The game of rugby league was very much part and parcel of his life, wasn't it? And he had this special affinity with the old generation. He connected with the older ladies. They watched just for Eddie because of his little quirk and mannerisms, didn't they?
He had a television audience, Harry. He had a fantastic television audience, and as John said, the regular supporters were as John said, it was like a tradition to go to the games. But the people who watch it on TV would have never seen a rugby league game if it hadn't have been for Grandstand and Eddie Waring, and they loved him. As you rightly say, Harry, they warmed to him because of his banter, the way he sort of profiled the game. It was like a family game, and he got everybody, the TV audience, involved. And I thought it was really good.
You know, I cut my teeth on rugby league because I learnt the trade under John Helm at Radio Leeds. He started to give me matches to cover, and I used to come to Thrum Hall regularly. And there was something about that place, and I wondered if you might be able to tell me about it, John, that was special. It was a rugby league place. I don't know how you define a rugby league place, but that was it, wasn't it?
I think, well, it was, and most of the people that came to watch the match, it were local, so they might have had only a quarter of a mile to go to the ground. No transport. A lot of them didn't have transport, so they came, you know, and as I say, that were their religion. They had to go and watch a rugby, and Eddie wearing his up and under were brilliant.
What was it like? What were the facilities like, Dave, at Thrumhall? Can you remember?
They weren't good. I really weren't brilliant, but
I can remember.
You know, when we all finished the match, we all jumped into a big mucky bath.
Yes, I did. I was just going to say that we had a communal bath, and it was a free for all. Honestly, we did have a few showers, but you can imagine the colour after you know, when it was a wet, sludgy day. You can imagine the colour and the cleanliness of the water in that communal bath.
Yeah, but isn't it true to say that the showers were for the posh players, weren't they?
That's right. It was a fight to get a shower.
Let's talk about the final, what you remember about it now. It was at Odsal Stadium, which for me was always a wonderful stadium, but boy, was it cold at times. It was the coldest place on earth when I was doing rugby league commentary, it seemed, day after day. But can you remember much about the game and how it went against Trinity?
I can remember David Topless, who was a massive friend of mine. I went to school with David. And I played amateur rugby with David, and I remember he scored a try in the first five minutes or so. So straight away we were on the back foot. I'll let John continue from there, but that actually set us back. You know, an early try against us, and we thought it's not going really good, this. But well, eventually we overcame. But I don't know whether John's anything to add.
Go on, John.
I think. It's as David said, we were like underdogs with no chance of winning that match. But of course we'd beaten Leeds beforehand, so we had plenty of confidence, and all the lads had confidence to win that match. And like Dave said, we got behind and things didn't go right. We're going right at the moment, and then we gradually picked up and thought, hey, we can win this. And
I think at half time, we went in, I think we were behind at half time.
Yeah.
And we went out the second half, and we had, well, everything sort of clicked together in the second half. You know, again, we just an all-round really good team. Me and John were like sort of workhorses in the pack, tackling with Tony Armshaw and Fogarty, great ball handler. A great runner with the ball with Fogarty, with two really good halfbacks, Gordon Baker and Bruce Burton. Some really good centres and wingers with flying wingers, and everything in the cup game seemed to click into place. You know, and we had a really good. Well, as you know, we won the trophy. The only thing, the biggest letdown was in the Challenge Cup. We played at Oxley again in the semi-final and lost to Leeds, who we beat in the semi-final of the Young Players Trophy. You know, so sorry, Ali.
Do you remember how much money you got for actually playing in that game? For winning?
We were paid, I believe, if John will correct me if I'm wrong, £100 in premium bonds. Ask John if that's correct.
Really? Yeah, that's true, is it? Premium bonds.
I'm just
Yeah, and is John with us?
Not at the moment. We'll get him back in a minute. So, did you ever win any more from your premium bonds, or were they just cashed in or what?
Well, what it was, Ali, it was a tax fiddle.
Right.
As you can imagine, they paid us out in premium bonds. They weren't taxable.
But you're not too old, you know, for HMRC to catch up with you. So beware.
I told him that. Don't mention about that. Well, I'll just come in on that point. Terry, Teddy Fogg, they actually came down to the dressing room with the directors, and I think they offered us £60. And sort of Terry said, we're not accepting that.
Right,
so,
yeah.
No, I'm not joking. Terry must have gone up to that room 6 times to get us the proper money. And then they said, of course, we'll give you £100 in premiums. And I reckon I won on premium.
What did you win?
Oh, 25 quid.
Oh, I thought you were going to say 25,000. I'm going to say. When you look at the way the game's developed now, and we've got a completely different game. From my memory, I used to remember lots of games in the mud, etc. They used to finish 8-6, 12-10, 13. Yeah. Nowadays in Super League, it's 36-35 and all that kind of thing. Is the game totally different now?
Yes, in my opinion, yes. I'm not the same enthusiasm to watch a game now, Harry, as what I used to have in them days. Not got the same enthusiasm. I watch it occasionally, but it's the rules are just. I mean, there's no proper forwards. They're all centres. They're all centres that play in the pack. There's no scrummaging. I mean, everybody in a pack, in a scrum, have got a job to do. Even your open side prop, your hooker, if you didn't win the ball, you couldn't win the game. And you had to fight for the ball in a scrub in them days. And the fans appreciated it. They've changed the game basically for the fans to speed the game up, to make it more mobile. I do understand that. They said there were too many stoppages at scrummages, but your die-hard rugby league fans understood what the scrummages were about.
Yeah, I wonder if we can just translate that into what some people say to me at times about the game, John. It's a bit like touch and pass now. Is that a bit unfair to say that?
Yeah, I'm sure it is, Harry. It's like Dave said. I'm not saying they're not fit. The players are fantastic with fit nowadays. But in them days, it was every position was a skill. Just take, for instance, if you were a loose forward, you looked after your scrum half, and nothing came down the blind side of the scrum. And like there were all sorts of other skills, like a big fist coming through from second row. A big fist coming through second row, and a dab of mud in Hooker's eye and stuff like that. And sort of the props know how to wheel the scrum to get the ball. And sort of if you were playing against, just say for instance, back we were playing against the St Helens team. If they had a good front row and a good hooker, they had a fair share of the ball. But nowadays it's just put the ball in and it comes out back and that's it. I'm not saying that's wrong. It gives more
just
time
a different game. It's the way it's come on, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a different game.
Yeah. It's a different game.
Yeah.
Can I ask you this question? Difficult one, really. But had you been faced with the situation we're all facing at the moment, this coronavirus and lock-ins, when you were young and not being able to play rugby league, how, Dave, would you have reacted to that, do you think?
Oof. I don't, Harry. I just don't know what I'd have done with myself, honestly. I just don't know what kids are doing with themselves anyway under this lockdown. It must be a nightmare for parents, to tie them down. And it would have been, I mean, I remember when I got home from school, I mean, I played amateur, played schoolboy amateur. It was straight to the field, kicking ball about, straight out after school. My mum and dad used to have to come and, when it got to 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, they used to be looking all over for me. Where is he? And I don't know what the parents are doing with them. In fact, they must be doing an absolute fantastic job, because you can imagine a house full of teenagers or whatever. It's a nightmare for them.
Yeah.
And would have been for me, Harry, they'd have had to tie me down.
The point you made there, Dave, and what I'm sure, John, you'll confirm, is that this game of rugby league was your life, wasn't it? Totally, John.
Yes.
Well, yeah, certainly. And the thing is that, I mean, I think it's true with Halifax now that they have to have a job as well. But when we played, like you had a job, you trained Tuesday, Thursday, maybe sometimes if you did cup match. So it weren't an easy life. But we enjoyed it. We did it, and that's the thing.
Now we're here today to try and make awareness and raise some funds, of course, to keep sport going in the Halifax area, throughout the whole region, actually. What message, Dave, would you have to people at the moment going through what they are today? What would you like to see them emerge out of this with?
Well, I think I'd like them to emerge back into with the frame of mind that we used to have in our day. There was a lot of camaraderie, a lot of community spirit, and I think if that's been shown that's still in this country for me, because people have adhered to the lockdown and they've done a fantastic job up to now. And I think if they can adhere to our community spirit and look after each other when they come out of this lockdown, like they are doing within the lockdown, when you see the people on the doorsteps doing keep fit up the street, and it's fabulous. And if they can continue that, I think this country will be far better for it.
Yeah, do you echo those same sentiments, John?
Yeah, I just thought we can this venture is a real success, and that we've all got to stick it out and hope that we can get back. This virus is killing a lot of wonderful people. Let's stick it out. Let's get back, and let's all look forward to when the sport returns on all fronts.
Yeah, I think you're right there, John, as well. Just ask you a little bit about the current Halifax setup, Dave. It's a far cry from Thrum Hall. I think I mentioned it before, perhaps, that when I went to Thrum Hall, I used to think, this is what rugby league's all about, Dave. This is it. Yeah. This is what we're talking about, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I just wish it was still open, Thrum Hall. As you say, Harry, it was a thoroughbred rugby league arena. The atmosphere was fantastic. I don't think you get the same atmosphere at the Shea, but the atmosphere was brilliant. You know, it was a bit daunting when you come out of the pavilion and you had to walk through the crowd to get onto the field. So if you had a bad game and you were coming off and you didn't know what the crowd were going to say to you, you know. But yeah, it's just a shame it had to happen that Thrum Hall had to close. It's a real shame. It is, honestly. There were some really good times up there. Really.
John, do you remember anything particular about Thrum Hall?
Yeah, I can remember playing on rock hard surfaces under that scratching shed. when the referee come out and said, "Yeah, you can play." No, we're not playing on that. You could actually hear the boots running over the frost surface. And I'll just go back to Les Pierce. Dave will bear me out on this. One day we had so much snow we couldn't do any training, so we used to run up and down the stand, right? And then Les would say, "Let's have a snowball fight."
He used to round off the training with a snowball fight.
Right,
I think that's what the game always brought up. Still got them around now, although I think they're less obvious. But there were so many characters. If you had to name one, Dave, that sort of summed up the game when you were playing it all those years ago, who summed up the game for you?
Teddy Dewhurst.
Yeah.
Can you remember Teddy?
I can indeed. Yeah.
His heart and soul, body, mind, everything was into rugby league. Nothing else. He lived for it, breathed for it, and he was a character. Ask John.
Go on, John, tell me about him.
Yeah, he was, yeah. And I once, you know, the old Dewsbury ground at Crown Flat. We weren't playing at that time. And I saw Terry over at far end of the thing. And you know, Terry had a big cauliflower ear. Did you ever see it?
I did. Oh yes, I knew him well. Him well.
He used to have his radio up against his ear, but the one that worked cauliflower, otherwise he wouldn't be able to hear it. I were a brilliant player. And I'll tell you another player who never got a right lot of mention. Bruce Burton.
Oh
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Fantastic player.
Yeah.
And unfortunately for him, I think Bruce moved on to, I can't remember which club he moved on to, but he got broken and sort of ended his career after. So,
Yeah.
We had a lot of fantastic players.
Yeah, we did.
Harry, can I just show you this?
Yeah, please do.
Can you see that?
Oh, I can. Yeah, I've got it now. Yeah, I've got it. That's
see,
it. Trophy winner 72. Got that.
Can you see Dave Callon?
I can. Yes, indeed.
I bet you can't picture him. He had some hair then.
Well, it's been wonderful to share these memories with you two guys. Thank you so much for doing it. It's a great cause, and I'm sure you hope we can raise a lot of money to keep sport going in the Halifax area. I've loved talking to you guys, and I don't know about you, but I'm going for a run now.
No, I'll give that one to me, Harry.
All right, John.
Yeah,
Good luck, Dave.
Me too, Harry. A brisk.
All the best.
Yeah, thanks for into it. Thanks, Harry.
Pleasure.
Thanks, Harry.
Cheers.